We back with another live stream video. Please share, subscribe, hit that like button. And let's get to this video. A giant sunspot, Carrington, size appear. Now the question that everybody been want to ask, will it cause a major solar storm? As a giant cluster of sunspots collectively around the same size as the one that birthed the largest solar storm in recorded history have just emerged on the sun, Earth, facing size, and is now pointed directly at our planet. But don't plan it. While auroras and some technological disturbances are possible over the coming weeks, the new sunspot complex seemed likely to release a second Carrington event. Now, a lot of people saying that this can be worse than an 1859 Carrington event. Now, the complex we looking at, the AR 4294 and 4296, is made up of two different sunspot groups. AR 4294 and AR 4296 that are magnetically intertwined. It first became visible on November 28 when it rotated into the sun-Earth facing sides on our home star's western limb. However, the dark patches was first spotted around a week earlier by NASA Perseverance Mars rover, which was spying on the sun far side relative to Earth. AR 4294 and 4296 is around the same size as a giant sunspot observed by British astronomers Richard Carrington in September 1859, was subsequently birthed the Carrington event, the biggest solar storm ever seen by humans. The image above, first shared by the space weather com on December 2nd, shows the sunspot complex alongside Carrington stretch of the giant 19th century. At first glance, the new sunspot complex appeared to be larger. However, in reality, its dark spots cover an area of the solar surface around 90% of the size of the Carrington sunspot. So they actually believe the next solar storm will be worse than the 1859 Carrington event. Now, it says the sunspot have the capacity to release powerful blasts of radiation or solar flares when the invisible magnetic field lines contort and snap unreleased energy into space. These explosive outbursts can trigger temporary radio blackouts on Earth and launch massive front-moving clouds of plasma or coronal mass ejection, CMEs, at our planet. When this happens, it can subsequently cause disturbances in our planet magnetic fields known as geomagnetic storms, which can interfere with electronics and paint, vibrate auroras in the night skies. The new dark patches are one of the biggest sunspot groups of the past 10 years and have the capacity to release the supercharged X-class flare, the most powerful type of the natural oceanic and atmospheric administration solar flares catalyzation systems. The Space Weathercom representative recently wrote, if does blow and unrelease a CME, then the result of solar storm will be effective that add. Excuse me there. Now, according to reports, NASA is saying that this giant sunspot can reach a massive solar flare. Now, they thinking that this next solar flare CME within the next couple of weeks can be worse than the 1859 Carrington event. Now, the Carrington event released an X45 multitude of solar flares in 1859, which remain a record, although there is a geological evidence that even more powerful blasts occurred long before human emerged. For context, an X45 flare is more than 5 times stronger than the most powerful solar flares of the last decade, an X7 blast in October 2024. If equally powerful blasts impact Earth today, the radiation would knock out everything satellites and orbits around our planet. Recent stimulation will also wreak havoc on the ground, potentially damaging parts of the electrical grid. Experts examined that the total damage will be easily exceed 1 trillion. Now, according to reports, if an AR 4294 and 4296 is close in size to the sunspots that birthed the Carrington event, that means a huge solar storm is likely, right? Well, yes or no? Now, they thinking that this giant sunspot can bring an 1859 Carrington event. They said it has potential to be worse than the 1859 Carrington event. Now, larger sunspots do have the potential to launch more powerful solar flares. Just keep that in mind. For example, the sunspots that birthed a geomagnetic superstorm in May 2024 was more than 15 times brighter than Earth. However, with sunspot size isn't everything. Whether or not a sunspot reaches its maximum explosive potential is also tied the configuration of its magnetic fields and the frequencies which explores, meaning that some giant sunspots can be completely harmless. The magnetic fields of an AR 4294, 4296 are quite entangled, meaning that flares are possible, and the complex has already unleashed a potential X-class flare while still on the sun's far side, according to Space Radicom. However, despite this, expert says there is no clear signs of a super storm with the Carrington event in the immediate future, but scientists will be keeping a particularly close eye on the magnetic field of the latest for signs of incoming activities. Now, here's my thing. Why would they be keeping an eye? Because you guys, we are hitting a very, very cycle. This is going to be going into the next 2 decades. So why would they keep an eye on it if they're not going to get a super solar storm? So keep in mind, guys, they know that this thing is ready to burst. The sun is heating up all its energy. It's getting enough nutrition, the radiation from this, gigantic sunspot. So anything can likely spark. So it says, according to report, Earth without any outbursts, the dark spots are likely large enough to survive more than one trip around the sun, meaning they could be back for round two sometime closer to Christmas. So we're looking closely within a 2 or 3 week span. So according to this report, it says the sun is slowly waking up. Now, NASA warns that there may be more extreme space weather for decades to come. The invisible flickering on the sun could predict potential dangerous solar flares hours in advance. We are fast approaching the sun battle zone, and it could be even worse than the solar maximum. Expert warns the sun has been particularly active in recent years because it had recently been in the most active phase of its roughly 11-year solar cycle, known as solar maximum. I told you guys, I told you guys that we are in a 2 decade of this cycle. And they know that this thing is going to erupt at some point. So let's go. It says that had fewer several recent S-class flares, including the two back-to-back. Explosion would trigger a G4 severe geomagnetic storm between November 11th and the 12th. In fact, the 2024 has the highest numbers of X-class flares, of a single year since modern record began in 96. So, a lot of these flares have triggered geomagnetic storms on Earth, including the extreme disturbances in May 2024, which was the most powerful of its kind for 21 years, and triggered some of the most widespread wars in centuries. Now, whether you believe it or not, it's just a matter of time when will these things fall in play. See, a lot of you guys may not believe that we can get into a high maximum. So it's a matter of time that the earth will burst as a revelation is being revealed. So many people feel within the next 2 weeks or so, they think that they can go into an ultimate solar maximum. So I'm gonna roll this clip. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let's go.
AR 4294 to 4296. This complex consists of two magnetically intertwined sunspot groups, AR 4294 and AR 4296. First spotted by NASA's Perseverance Mars rover observing the sun's far side, it rotated into view on November 28th. While its size is impressive, it's important to note that its dark spots cover only about 90% of the area of the Carrington-Size sunspot. But here's where it gets intriguing. Sunspots are capable of unleashing powerful solar flares, which occur when their tangled magnetic field lines snap, releasing immense energy into space. These flares can cause radio blackouts and throw massive clouds of plasma, known as coronal mass ejections, CMEs, towards Earth. When these CMEs interact with our planet's magnetic field, they create geomagnetic storms, leading to technological disruptions and breathtaking auroras. AR 4294 to 4296 is no ordinary sunspot group. It's one of the largest seen in the past decade and has the potential to produce supercharged X-class flares, the most powerful type. If it were to unleash a CME, the resulting solar storm could indeed impact Earth. However, this is the part most people miss. While size matters, it's not the sole determinant of a sunspot's destructive potential. The configuration of its magnetic field and the frequency of its eruptions also play crucial roles.
This will be crucial, you guys, if the sun continue to get its high radiation. This can be crucial for us. Within the next 2 weeks, scientists will see how serious things can be. Now, they thinking that this can be a lot worse than the 1859 Carrington event. But like I said, for more updates, please stay subscribed to this channel. Please subscribe. And we're going to be back for more updates. So thank you guys for tuning in. But then we out.